Welcome, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come in and see us. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hey, my name is Alexander Comanici, and I'm an electrical apprentice for the Electrical, which is a small domestic company.
And who's this man to your left?
I am Tony McDonnell. I'm an electrical instructor out here in Baldoyle Training Centre, and Alex was one of my students late last year, finished up just before Christmas, and he was a very good student at that.
The man who made you, is that it? Was there like a particular moment or experience that said, like, this is it for me, this is exactly the thing I want to do?
I wouldn't say so. Like, it was mostly all the trades, because I've been working on site with my dad since I was about 16. So before I became a Sparks, I was a builder for about 8 years. So I've kind of had a background in the sparking, but the trades in general. But mostly it was I do a lot of work with computers. So I build computers, and just kind of exciting I do, and that kind of got me interested. And I said, why not? Why not give the Sparks a try? And I thought that was a good idea. Maybe do something with that. Kind of build on what I know from computers, and then kind of bring that forward.
All right, so the construction industry wasn't nerdy enough. You had to,
Yeah, I like to be challenged, so I thought this was a good place to start.
Before you started your apprenticeship, what do you think would be your biggest misconceptions about the electrical trade?
There wasn't really that many misconceptions to obviously when you're working on site, you kind of get a lot of the nuances.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it might be unfair in your particular case, but like, can you think of any sort of misconceptions people might have about it?
Oh, well, it's a lot more complex, and it's a lot more mathsy and sciencey than a lot of people would think. I would say there's a lot of physics and things that kind of go on behind the scenes where this, like, somebody that does work in this trade wouldn't know. You wouldn't really notice it. Yeah.
What do you think has been the steepest learning curve that you faced on job, and how have you overcome it?
Oh, steepest learning curve. I'd probably say was within the training center, the motor control. Took a little while for me to wrap my head around the different bits and bobs to it, kind of the sequences. And I'd say just getting through it was kind of keep doing it, trial and error, see what works, what doesn't, kind of mess around. I think that was probably the hardest, just trial and error basically. Just keep doing it until you figure out which way it works, and once you have a winning formula, you kind of stick to that.
How do you stay current with the rapidly changing technology in the electrical field, like smart homes, EV charging stations, all of these things?
Yeah, well, we do have an EV charger. We have solar panels, and the house is fairly optimized. It is an A-rated house, so kind of with the heat pump and underfloor heating, we do kind of stay up to date with kind of what's the current. So we do try to be very energy efficient.
How would you describe the quality of training here at Baldoyle Training Centre? Because you went through with Tony here. What's the balance like between classroom theory and hands-on practical work? How well do you think the training prepared you for the workplace?
I think the training centre did a great job with kind of hitting the right balance between the workshop and the classroom. I think it went through things fairly thoroughly, and I think that kind of goes a long way with helping apprentices of all skill levels kind of get through the course and have a better understanding of it. Just from my experience, I'm very hands-on, kind of do things on site, and I just kind of get first-hand experience. I think I learned things a lot faster just from my previous experience, so I personally would have preferred more time in the classroom just to get through the more difficult sciencey bits. That's probably what I would have preferred, but every person has their different curve, so.
Absolutely. I'll throw it to Tony. Here in Baldoyle, I suppose it's fair to say that there's a long-established training for electrical instruction. Would you say that the programme, as it stands, equips apprentices as well with the strong foundation skills to compete in today's workplace? And maybe more pointedly, what would you change, or would you change anything, update it to reflect modern trends?
I think the centre gives a high quality of training and equips apprentices with a strong foundation and basic phase 2 level stuff that we're doing here. We first introduce science their first introduction to science would be in phase 2 here, where they do a lot of maths and physics and stuff like that. That doesn't change. That's all across the board. Like they will always be using that as an electrician. As regards things that change and add an update, some of our parts of our course, like renewable energies, are very small, where we know it's a large section in industry at the moment, but in the centre it's only a very small bit. So you read cover in less than an hour. We are expanding on that, and other stuff like LEDs, we don't cover them. We cover more incandescent lamps, fluorescent fit and stuff like that, older stuff. So we're looking forward to the new syllabus when it comes in. It's going to have more renewable energies, more to do with motors, more to do with the new lighting we have, Internet of Things, energy side and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're looking forward to in the future.
Excellent. So could you tell us a little bit about the company you work for? You say that it's a pretty small outfit. What's it like working there, and how do they support apprentices?
Basically I'm the first apprentice for the company. So that's a nice learning curve for both myself and the boss. But I think it's just a great experience overall, because you get hands-on experience from somebody with vast experience just in general. So you get to go through all the steps and learn them. I tend to be quite inquisitive, so I do like to ask a lot of whys, what's, hows.
They'll know your gaffer, does it?
No, he's very easygoing. Sure, we go back, about 15 years now. So we have more friends relationship as opposed to kind of boss and employee. So it's very easygoing. I'm able to, ask a lot of questions without kind of having that, annoyance, like you said. But no, he's very happy to kind of teach me all the bits and bobs, and even things that he probably thinks are a bit more advanced, he would still teach me them because he thinks it's a good learning curve. So overall, I think it's a fantastic experience. I think
That's great to hear.
it's doing great.
What's the most valuable lesson that you think you've learned on the job?
Ooh, I'd say it's probably never take anything for granted. Always check the cables, make sure nothing is live, because I've had an experience where I checked the live, the neutral, and then the earth was used as a second live. And I did get a shock off it because I took it for granted. So that was a very valuable lesson. So I say this is probably one of the most important lessons, is to never take anything for granted.
That's right. What surprised you most about the electrical industry once you got into it? Because you had a construction background beforehand. Yeah.
Oh, I would say it's probably just the vast range of kind of different things that you do. At the base, core, everything is kind of, somewhat basic. The concept of electrical is very basic. You have your circuits and you kind of have the same terminations, but the amount of different fittings and the way things interact with each other, probably I say is the most surprising. It's just how different things interact with each other, heat pumps, that's kind of heating systems tend to be quite complex nowadays from my experience, and it's just the way different electrical components interact with each other, especially in smart homes. I'd say that's probably what surprised me the most.
What's the most rewarding project that you've completed, and why do you think it meant so much to you?
I'd probably say it was my experience within the training center. I do think so. I think there was a lot involved in it, and there was a lot of kind of great people around me, and I had a great time, and I learned a lot. I probably say learned the most within the training center, because we covered a lot of things I probably wouldn't do on site. So I thoroughly enjoyed probably everything. I'd say from start to finish, I like the industrial, I like the motor control, and so I'd say this is probably it.
It's coming up to exam results time. Most parents hate the thought of it. What would you say to parents who might be hesitant about their son or daughter choosing a trade over college? What advice would you give to someone considering an electrical apprenticeship that might feel a bit unsure about it?
I was actually just recently talking to one of my mates. He has a degree in computer science. They're struggling for work, and I suggested electrical to him. And I think if you like it, and if you like tidy work and kind of this automation and sequence, because that's basically what electrical is, my opinion anyway. Just if you like that, then I think this is a great career path, and there's a lot into it. It has probably a very wide kind of spectrum of places where you can go to. I told them, you can do electrical engineering, you can do renewables, there's plenty of avenues for you to go. And I think there's a misconception, that, oh, you're an electrician and that's kind of it. Where I had a good look around and, there's so many ways you can go with it. So I probably say don't be afraid to get into it. There's a lot of places you can go with it.
Would you have anything to say now?
For anybody who might be hesitant, I might say not everybody is cut out to sit for 4 to 6 to 8 hours a day to sit in a classroom learning. Some people are more hands-on, and if you're that way inclined, more hands-on, I'd go for a trade. Myself, I was always worried that way myself anyway. But especially electrical, you can go anywhere in the world, you can travel anywhere, you can do just about anything with very little add-ons to do when you go to bring up your qualifications. For anybody considering a trade, I would say just because it's hands-on doesn't mean that there is no theory work behind it. There is a bit of maths and science, and it can get difficult if you're not that way inclined. But I will say most hands-on trades give some of the best job satisfaction, electrical especially. Like the fact that you can wire a light and turn it on at the end of the day, or plug in your phone charger to charge your phone, that gives great job satisfaction at the end of the day. Working on a panel for a day or 2 days or a week and turning on systems one by one, it really gives a fulfilling feeling. It's a very rewarding job. That's what I'd say.
Going back to you, what does being put forward for this year's Apprentice of the Year award mean to you personally and professionally?
Ooh, I'd say that's probably a big reflection. I'm obviously delighted with that, and I think it just kind of reflects the time and effort I've kind of put into my work. I do take a lot of pride in what I do, and I enjoy what I do. So I usually try to do it to the best of my ability, and I think that just kind of reflects the effort I've put in, which that's a great kind of sense of satisfaction from it, and hopefully it goes well.
If you could change one thing about how people perceive electricians and the skilled trades, what would that be?
Oh, well, you see, just kind of working with the general kind of public nowadays and having a few years of experience behind me, I'd say people have changed their perspective towards the trades in recent years. Like, people kind of understand the work and, the effort that kind of goes into these projects. It's a lot of work. So, see, probably about 10 years ago, people thought, it's easy and, it's simple and I can do it myself. Just from my experience, people used to do a lot of things themselves, especially electrical. People, I can wire the socket, I can wire. But nowadays, it's not that simple. And I think people are kind of coming around to that and realizing that, even just your basic home is a lot more complex than it was. So I'd say people still have a good bit of way to go, like kind of understanding what we do fully. But I think they are coming around. So just that.
This is the dreaded interview question that you get when you're going for any job. But here it goes. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Or I suppose more realistically, like, what are your aspirations in the trade?
Well, for myself, I'm looking at electrical engineering. So once I qualify after my apprenticeship, I'm looking to kind of push forward in my career and see what I can do with that and kind of see where that takes me. So fingers crossed, that all goes well. But yeah, I am mainly interested in electrical engineering. I kind of mostly do like networking. I do like the computer side of it and just kind of dealing with networks. So that's probably where I'm heading for.
That's what, like, with your IT background, I suppose.
Yeah.
You're interested in computers. That makes sense. I'd like to thank you so much for coming in today. It was wonderful to speak with you. I hope we get to see you again on the next leg.
Yeah.
And thanks again.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Craig. Thank you.